And the drop-off when he rests is the proof. We have seen this exact shape before and recently. There was a stretch where people looked at SGA and asked the same question they asked about LaMelo. Great numbers, sure, but does it actually lead to winning? Then Oklahoma City leveled up the roster around him, and the question vanished. And the same doubters spent the next 2 years explaining why they were never really doubters. A ball-dominant guard is only as dangerous as the team you put around him. Alone on a bad roster, he's a stat line people wave off. Give him a real supporting cast, and he becomes a problem the whole league has to solve. That is the entire mechanism of fear. And it is exactly the mechanism Charlotte just handed to somebody else. But before we get there, look at how last season even happened. Because the health did not fix itself. Charlotte wrapped him in bubble wrap, ankle braces every night, after years of him going without. Minutes capped around 25 on the second night of back-to-backs, a stretch where they brought their franchise guard off the bench just to steal fresh fourth-quarter minutes. They kept him upright and kept him great. And the healthier and greater he looked, the more one very quiet fact became true. LaMelo Ball was worth something.
So now he actually is consistently wearing the ankle braces. They've been playing with the minutes restriction stuff for him.
2 years ago, you could not get his contract away. A max deal worth more than $250 million. Bolted to a guy who plays 22 games, has no market, and the market for expensive point guards was already frozen solid. Teams could barely move Trae Young. Nobody could move Ja Morant at all. And into that dead market walked a healthy 24-year-old LaMelo Ball. And suddenly, there was a line out the door.
The sort of depressed star point guard market is tough.
Minnesota, Toronto, Portland, all calling, all driving the number up. One healthy season term contract nobody would touch into a bidding war. And that is the setup for the coldest move of the summer. Charlotte could not keep the dangerous version. They sold it at the exact top. ESPN's Tim Mahomes laid it out. Around the league, the read was that Charlotte let LaMelo restore his value and pounce the second there was a first-round pick to be had. And until that they were selling, not building, on July 6th, LaMelo became eligible for a 2-year, $119 million extension. If you think a 24-year-old is the guy you win with, that is the day you hand him the pen. Charlotte let the window open and never touched it. Instead of the extension, LaMelo got a trade. And here's what turns a smart sell into something the rest of the West should lose sleep over. Charlotte did not dump him on a lottery team to rock. They sent him to Anthony Edwards. Remember the SGA lesson? A guard like this gets scary the moment the roster around him gets real. For his entire career, the one thing LaMelo never had was a co-star. In Charlotte, he was the whole offense, the release valve and the pressure at the same time. Now he lands next to a top 5 player who has already been openly begging for his exact skill set. And it is not just that Ant wanted a point guard. It is what LaMelo lets Ant become. With the real initiator beside him, Edwards slides back to being a pure scorer, the thing he's best at on the planet, and stops having to manufacture every possession himself. Hear what Kendrick Perkins has to say about it.
The one thing that I've been begging and we've been wanting for Anthony Edwards is a young, true point guard, and that's what LaMelo Ball is.
That is the fear in one sentence. Everything the league told you itself about LaMelo depended on him being alone on a bad team. Minnesota just erased both halves of that. A real roster, a genuine superstar behind him. The exact conditions doubters were counting on never having to see.
Get the new Google Pixel 11 Pro for $0 at AT&T.
Leo's working hard. No wait. Pampers is working hard, keeping him dry. Only Pampers Swallows has a keep dry liner to keep his skin drier. Pampers, the #1 brand for sleep. Now fragrance-free.
The Acura MDX. With Acura Watch, a system of advanced driver assist technology. Stand.
Visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on a new vehicle.
Driving is what drives me. The road has always felt like home.
They jumped up like 25 games last year, Greg. They got better people around him. It's not all him, but it's because he's passing to better people who can do something with the ball. His strength, if this works at its best, is he will open up this offense in a way you've never seen because he can get to the basket. He can break things down.
And think about what a healthy LaMelo actually does to a defense once he has help. He pulls up from near half court, which drags a defender out to beat him 25 feet from the rim and cracks the whole shell open behind him. Then he throws passes most guards don't even see, so help defenders cannot cheat off their man. Now put Anthony Edwards on the other end of that, attacking a defense that is already bent and scrambled. Two stars who make each other's jobs easier, instead of two stars taking turns. That is not a fun slideshow anymore. It's a matchup the best teams in the West have to sit in a film room and solve. Now on the contrary, if he is really this good, why did Charlotte hand him over at all? But look closer, and even that cuts the other way. Charlotte was not fleeing the problem. Rebuilding his value after years of it cratering, wait for the market to run hot, sell at the very top, and walk away with a pile of picks, and the keys handed to younger, cheaper players in Knipple and Miller. That is a defensive plan. It just stings to watch. And notice what it's not. It is not a team saying he cannot play. It is a team saying they would rather have the assets. Those are two very different sentences, which sets up the second doubt, the one that can make this whole afraid framing look silly. He still has to stay healthy, and nobody has said that more bluntly than the same Tim McMahon.
LaMelo Ball, as talented as he is, has not proven to be a consistent superstar in this league. He's not proven to be able to stay healthy. He's not proven to be able to deliver when his team's season is on the line.
That is the same case against the Fear, and it's a good one. One healthy season is not 5. He was wrapped in a minutes plan all year for a reason. Take away Charlotte's bubble wrap, ask him to carry heavier playoff minutes next to Ant, and the same body that cost him 105 games in 3 years could pull the whole thing back down. If that happens, the league's comfortable old story turns out to be right after all. But notice what that argument quietly gives away. The only thing left standing between the NBA and the nightmare version of LaMelo Ball is a health question, not talent, not a fit, not whether his game wins. Those debates are finished. All that remains is whether his ankles cooperate. That is a very different conversation than the one the league was having 2 years ago, and a much scarier one. So back to the question, why did Charlotte hand the league exactly what it feared? Because Charlotte was scared too, just a different thing. They looked at a healthy box office 24-year-old LaMelo Ball and did not see a foundation. They saw a number that would never climb higher and a body they did not want to bet a decade on. And to be fair to them, the ceiling was right there in plain sight. Charlotte made the play-in, won one game, and then got blown out by 31 in Orlando to close the season. 44 wins in a play-in exit is a good year. It's not a contender. That is the gap the front office was staring at when it decided a healthy LaMelo was a selling opportunity instead of a building one. The man running that office, Jeff Peterson, basically admitted it. His goal, he said, was never a play-in spot. Never one good year. He wanted sustained success, and he wanted to be honest about where the franchise really sat in its life cycle. Compare that to the trade, and it's a confession wearing a mission statement. The 44 wins never moved them, so they took the safe money, a useful big in Nas Reed, a melon of draft capital, and the largest trade exception in league history. That is a real haul. It is also an admission. Charlotte's own front office looked at the version of LaMelo Ball the whole league spent 5 years dismissing, decided he was finally real, and decided he was too dangerous to bet their future on. Then they handed that exact player to a contender, took picks, and turned the team over to guys that can pay a fraction of what LaMelo would have cost. Brandon Miller, a 20-point-a-night wing, the rookie who became the first ever to lead the league in threes and finished second in Rookie of the Year voting. Kobe White, steadying the backcourt. The replacements were already in the building, which is a big reason selling the franchise's most exciting player was so easy to stomach upstairs. And there's one more thing Charlotte sold that never shows up in the trade grid. LaMelo was the draw. He moved the jerseys. He filled the seats. He was the reason that casual fans checked in on a team that had not sniffed the playoffs in a decade.
Into an AAU gym with me and watch LaMelo Ball walk in and watch how the kids go crazy.
So Charlotte did not just trade a good, healthy point guard. They cashed in on the most magnetic player they had since the building opened, and bet a pile of future picks would be worth more than the show. The NBA told itself for 5 years that LaMelo Ball could not really hurt him. His own team became the first to act that the opposite is true, which is why next season is going to feel like a verdict. If LaMelo stays on the floor and turns Anthony Edwards loose, the way Perkins thinks he will, the fear stops being a talking point and becomes a problem the entire Western Conference has to solve. If his body breaks the way it has before, Charlotte looks like the team that saw it coming. Either way, the league does not get to be comfortable anymore. For 5 years, they told themselves that LaMelo was fun and fragile and harmless. He spent last season killing the harmless part. Now he is healthy, he is paid, He's a superstar next to him, and he is playing for a contender that believes he is the final piece. That is exactly what they were afraid of. So tell me where you land. Is a healthy LaMelo Ball next to Anthony Edwards the scariest backcourt in the league? Or is Charlotte about to look like the smartest team in it? But A, his ankles get out of hand. Drop in the comments. If this changed how you saw that trade, hit the like and subscribe button. And I'll see you in the next one.
Making every dollar count is important to you, so it's important to Allstate. Drive safe? Congrats! You save. Drive less? More savings. Multiple vehicles, savings. It's important to you. It's important to us. We're in good hands with Allstate.
What if I told you LaMelo Ball just became the fastest player ever? What if I told you LaMelo Ball just became the fastest player ever to reach 900 career three-pointers, doing it in only 287 games? To put that into perspective, Duncan Robinson held the previous record at 305. But here's what makes it even crazier. This is the same player who's been under a microscope since day one, criticized for being too flashy, too injury-prone, not built to win. Scouts questioned everything, his constant freestyle, those wild shots, even his shooting form that never looked textbook. So what actually changed? Nothing. Because the legends, those who've actually watched every era of this game, saw something different from the very beginning, and they've been saying it ever since. So let's get into it, and shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring this video. So the first legend to really give LaMelo the stamp of superstar approval, that would be none other than Kevin Garnett.
LaMelo hit the big nigga last night with some shit. Oh man, he was coming left and he wanted to get to the three. He threw it right-handed and got back to the you know how they let it float there and then took all the steps without touching it and get back to it off the he gave off the one leg going back.
Yeah, I saw that.
A Hall of Famer known for his intensity, toughness, and relentless edge, and he's a huge fan of LaMelo Ball's game. On his show, KG openly called him one of his two favorite players to watch in the entire NBA. What he loves the most isn't the athleticism or even the 6'7" frame, it's the feel, the instinctive freestyle quality of his game that no draft process can measure and no coach can teach. Melo brings back an old school vibe, a guy who moves the ball with a level of confidence and IQ that reminds him of a different era. Watch LaMelo on any possession, and you'll understand. The hesitation dribble that freezes a defender mid-step, the no-look pass fired across the court to a cutter no one else saw, the floater that hangs a full second too long before it drops perfectly through the net. Melo changes direction mid-dribble with the ball barely leaving his fingertips, keeping it alive on one leg, and finishes the play with smooth, highlight-level touch. The crazy part, it actually works, night after night on the biggest stage in the world.
He's playing with a different confidence. I hope the league blesses him with the All-Star. He is much on TV. I think he's great when you put him around a bunch of other young guys. Fun to watch. He's the way. He's the direction that he's going with, and he's part of that way. I like watching him play. I like watching him go home, just because of him.
At some point, everyone watching LaMelo started asking the same question. Who does this guy actually play like? Then Kendrick Perkins gave the world an answer that stuck.
He is a baby Magic Johnson in the making.
And once you hear what the real Magic himself has to say, you'll understand exactly why that comparison hit so hard. Magic Johnson, the father of Showtime basketball, practically redefined the modern point guard position. At 6'9", he brought a rare blend of size, vision, and creativity, mastering ball handling, no-look passes, and the ability to create easy opportunities out of nothing. As someone who's followed LaMelo's rise, Magic noticed something familiar: the work ethic, what he calls the gym rat mentality, the relentless effort put in behind the scenes, early mornings, film sessions, and that obsession with getting better every single year, shaped early on under the guidance of his father, LeVar Ball. And his praise cut straight through every criticism Ball has faced. The three-time NBA Finals MVP pointed out that Charlotte is building something special, and it all begins at the point guard position, where LaMelo is controlling everything. That endorsement means everything coming from arguably the greatest point guard of all time. Magic knows what it takes to be the engine driving a franchise forward. He did it in Los Angeles for over a decade, leading 5 championship rosters purely through extraordinary court vision, passing abilities, and leadership. So when he watches LaMelo throw passes over the top of defenses, dictate the tempo of an entire game, and lift his teammates just by being on the floor, he recognizes the DNA immediately. Because Magic built that blueprint, and now he sees someone take it and push it into a new era. But if you want to talk about the pure skill behind every move LaMelo makes, there's only one person whose opinion carries more weight than anyone else's: Kevin Durant, one of the most lethal scorers the game has ever seen.
T-Mobile has the fastest 5G home internet. Get T-Mobile 5G home internet for just $35 a month. Love it or get your money back. Money's good, right? There are 250 reasons to choose T-Mobile. Find yours.
Chevy SUVs are made with everything you need to bring out your best. Value you can count on. And tech that has your back.
Hey Google, text the Block Party crew we're almost there.
Enjoy summer in a new Chevy. Right now, get 3.9% financing for 5 years on all 2026 Chevy Equinox models.
Heavy duty, every line is a movie. What we done from day one, been banging like